Hi, this is Crystal with Made to Be Unique with another tutorial on how to create your own custom Techno lightning bolts in Photoshop. We're going to go ahead and start off with a new document. 4500, excuse me. Resolution 300 in case we want to use it for printing purposes. Creating a dark background to begin with. Let's just start off with some text. And we'll work our lightning bolts around the text. Oops. I'll teach you more about font and typography later in future lessons. But let's just start off with some text, and yours doesn't have to say the same thing or use the same colors, but let's start off with the dark background and with some text and just follow along. I'm going to create a new layer over here, and I'll teach you about layers in another course. But for now, just create a new layer. And then we're going to explore our pencils and our brushes. Let's do a pencil for now. Actually, no, let's do brush. Yes, let's do brush. And let's do a fuzzy 7. And white would be fine. We'll do white. And let's see, where do we want the biggest focus? We want the biggest focus on being U. So we'll focus on the U for the central location of the lightning bolt. Let's do a bigger number here. It is underneath the fonts, so I could do that. Okay. Now let's go a little smaller than that one. Let's tone it down to 9. That one was bigger than that. That's okay. Zoom in a little bit. Tone it down even more. Do 5. Just let your hand shake a little bit naturally. I'm using a mouse and not a Wacom tablet just because my line of work, I type a lot, answer emails all the time, and so I'm using a mouse. I would like to use more of the Wacom tablet in the future, but just know that if you don't have it, it's okay. Don't let that stop you from doing your best even with a mouse. Let's go even less than smaller than that. 3. it's okay if it's hard to see it. It's actually good because, you know, that's kind of how lightning is. It fades out where you can hardly see the parts of it. So a lot of times what I like to use is photos for reference. So there's this site here called unsplash.com, and they have a lot of wonderful photos that I found for lightning. And no one lightning is the same as I understand it. I mean, I haven't found a single lightning bolt that looks like the other. There's similarities, but they sure are unique in their own way, which is pretty cool. But let's get some ideas. Like they have some glow and some fade into the background, and some have lots of fade and lots of white and different colors. There's black and purple and pink. So we can just kind of use that as a guide. We can revert to our pencil if we want. And the pencil and the brush are very similar. The pencil doesn't really blur out on the edges, but you can have large sizes and do fun stuff with it as well. I'm just going to keep it at 1 for now because I think we're doing pretty good. I'm happy with this so far. I don't like it going right here because it's distracting from the Be Unique. So what I'm going to do is get the eraser. It's pretty big right now. I'm going to make it smaller. I don't want it to distract. So, and also I'd like to fade it around the edges. So if I have one of these, you know, blurring fading things selected, then it'll be nice and gradual. But if I use, like, say that, it'll just chop it. Okay, chop. So I think I like the faded effect better. We can do that on all the edges. In fact, I want to bring it back up high. Zoom out. See how it just kind of on the edges, it makes it blend in really well. Just lightly tap around the edges and it'll help it blend real nice. Okay, I'm liking it. Let's create a new layer and give it some effects, kind of like these glowing effects. New layer. We'll go behind the boat with this new layer. We're going to create a shape, the eclipse tool, and let's go with purple. Let's do a purple. We can always change that later on. Going to blur, Gaussian blur. It's like it needs to be rasterized. So I'm going to be like, okay, go ahead and rasterize it. It's going to rasterize it. I'm going to make it very blurry. I want to clone that. I'm going to put it above everything this time. And let's try a different color overlay. Maybe a different shade of purple. Let's see how it works. I may or I may not like it, I'm not sure. Just okay, and I'm going to convert that to a smart object and then rasterize that so that it just locks in that color that we used. And I'm going to do the general blending, and I'm going to just see how it looks with the general blending effects. I always play around with the blending mode. That's nice. I like that too. Color dodge. That's pretty good. might stick with that color dodge. Actually, that's really nice. I like that. I'm going to keep that. And I'm actually going to stick it underneath the text. And now this text should have some kind of a glow and a stroke of its own to pull it out. Using the eyedropper here. Then outer glow of its own. So you can see right here the glow. Then some noise. Maybe I'll change the font color, I'm not sure. No, I'm not liking this. I liked it before, but I'm not liking it now. Opacity. So a lot of times, you play with the image to try to get it where you want it to be. I'm going to go back here and change it. Screen is good. Color dodge. Let's keep it there. It's pretty wild. Again, you can play with it however you like. Let's add some cloud effects, okay? We'll create a new layer at the very top. We'll use the brush tool. Get something real big. There. And let's do a color like a blue or bluish purple. And I'm just going on top, and then I'm going to kind of blur it in so it kind of fades in, and you might see what I like about that. Okay, so I've got my painted brushed on top, and I'm going to go up here to blur and the Gaussian blur. That's actually what I did was I used the same effects that I did the last time. Let me undo that so you can see what I did. Okay, so I'm back. I used Control-Alt-Z to go backwards, and then I'm going to filter, and the blur is right here, the Gaussian blur. And so if I wanted to use the same steps, I'll just keep it where it was, or I can go like that. Right here is pretty good. I think it's kind of a little too crazy right now. What do you think? I think we could blend it though. Screen. Opacity. That'll help blend it. Ah, that's better. Okay, I'm feeling better about this. Now also we can do something here in the back. We can create a gradient background. Maybe like a dark purple or deep red. Oh, here we go. Deep red kind of blends in really well. Click OK. Okay, I actually like this effect a lot. Now to work on some of the lightning bolts and give it a little bit more detail. Let's see. We can do like a burst, kind of like this has a burst. That has a burst. We'll just create a burst on some of our lightnings. And again, what we do with that is we can, there's two different ways that I go about that. Is I can either use the brush tool or I can use the shape tool and just blur it. I'm going to go ahead and use the brush tool this time and go with this lighter color. And I need a new layer. I'm using a lot of layers, and I'm sorry, it's not talking too much about the layers, but hopefully you'll follow along well enough. Otherwise, you can look through my other courses for more on layers. Start on the branches. I might change this color. And I'm going to bring it below the text, dragging it. Okay. Oh, wait, let's blur it. Gaussian blur gives me pretty good control. I like that. That's pretty good. There, I like that. A little less. Okay, good. Let's try and change that color, because I think it could be a different color. Yeah, I'm liking the whiter. I like the white. Yeah. And the opacity. Maybe I'll just delete some of it. Let's see. That's on brush. I need to go to the... there. Ah, I like that. And then let's see how the opacity. See, I like that. Okay, this is what I'm wanting. I'm going to go a little bit more smaller brush, more white. So playing around with it until you get what you want. That's what I do. And the more you play around with it, the easier it gets and the quicker you are, because you understand where things are that you want. Let's blur that. Less of a blur. No, more of a blur. Less of a blur. Ah, that's a good blur. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm not completely happy with the effects on the font. Outer glow is a little crazy. I might change that outer glow. But I like that. I think that looks good. Let's try that different outer glow. Less noise, please. Change that stroke color, maybe something purple. Yeah, I like purple better on that. And you can try different effects here. Just play around with it and see what you like. But I'm liking that. I think that looks pretty good. And if I want to copy that same style over to this one, what I do is right click, copy layer style. Paste layer style. Okie dokie. Delete. I'm pretty happy about that. Zoom out. I think it looks pretty good. I like it. I hope you like it too. So, File, Save, JPEG. That was my first rendition, but this one I like even better. Be unique background, Lightning. I give it a good strong name so that it's easier to find, and also when I create stock for stock sites, they require the use of good keywords in the file names. Try not to get it too long though. I'm kind of getting a little bit too long here, so I don't want to go past that. JPEG, I don't want to optimize it this time. case I want to use it for professional printing purposes. If I wanted to use it just for online purposes, then I would optimize it. This time I'm not going to. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'd love to see what you come up with, your own lightning bolts, your own words. Send me an email or let me know if you like the classes. Thanks a lot.